Hello everyone and welcome to day 1 of AA revision. Now in this particular revision session, I'm going to explain to you a few important topics of AA. We're going to solve a few questions and we're going to do a mock. So let's begin with AA revision. But before we jump into the AA revision, I would like to give you a little details about Lakshya and a little details about myself. Okay. Today is the day 1 of our revision. So let's begin with that. First of all, my name is Sancia Gonsalves. I have studied Master of Commerce in Accountancy and Taxation and ACCA. I have a teaching experience of 5 years. I've been teaching subjects like AA, AAA, APM, AFM, FM and SBR. Along with that, I've been teaching many more subjects also. But AA and AAA kind of somewhere, I love the subject very much. That is why, I have experience of teaching that more. So you guys are lucky that you're having me for AA revision. I will try my best to give you the best revision from examination point of view. But after the revision, applying that revision and studying for the exam is your part. So now the ball is in my court. I will try my best to give you a good revision. After which, the ball is in your court. You have to study hard and pass the examination. Okay. A little details about the institute that is providing you guys with this free AA revision class. Can you imagine? It is free. And it is free and from the tutors who have been teaching the live paid class in their institute. So isn't this like a cherry on the cake that you're getting a free revision from the tutors who actually teach Lakshya students who pay the fees. So this free class is for everybody. If you guys are watching this but you all are not giving the AA exam this attempt, you can just click on the link below, copy it and send it to your friends who are not from Lakshya or are from Lakshya and trying to give the exam now in December. It is going to be very useful for everybody there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Lakshya. What is Lakshya? We have earned a great reputation as a key confidant and as a powerful institution, as well as a close advisor to the aspiring candidates in the CA, ACCA, CMA US, CMA India, CS, CAT, CMA and BVOC. We provide a platform by availing all the courses in the syllabus, thereby making it a single point destination to all the aspirants. Basically, after your 10th standard, once you select your stream, we have streams like science, commerce, arts, vocational, whatever. Once after 10th, you select your stream to be commerce, you need not go anywhere else. Straight come to Lakshya, take admission in Lakshya. The remaining, they will keep it on them. They will explain you. So then once you take admission at Lakshya after your 10th standard for your 11th and 12th, they will train you. They will tell you what is good for you. They will give you multiple options. They will tell you there's CA, there is ACCA, there is CMA US, there's CMA India, there's CS, there's CAT, there's CMA, there's BVOC. All these courses will be introduced to you by Lakshya. Depending on what you want to do in the future, what kind of a work profile you want, what kind of work you want to do, based on that the selection will be done. They will help you select the right course. If it's the Indian CA or if it's the UK ACCA or if it's CMA, whatever, they will help you choose. And once you've chosen, for example, you've chosen ACCA, then they will guide you on how to give papers. So for example, now once you choose ACCA, then comes the next step. They will tell you, if you live in Kerala, do you want to take the offline live classes? If you do not live in Kerala, do you want to take the online live classes? If you live in the UAE, do you want to take the online live classes wherein the faculty comes live? And it's just like your offline class, wherein you come live, the faculty comes live, you all ask each other questions and that is pretty much like that. Okay, so that also will be explained in class. Then what else? The faculty will come live. The faculty will teach you like a proper offline class. You can ask questions to the faculty like a proper offline class, and the faculty will resolve your doubts. Okay, so depending on where you stay and what you do, etc., you will be guided based on that. You will be guided based on that. Okay, so now you chose ACCA. They will guide you on should you take a offline class in Kochi or in any other place in Kerala. Should you take an online class, which is a live class? Should you take an online class in the UAE, and etc. Now, say for example, your designation is such that your timing is not matching with the online live classes. Then what? Like you do not have time to come live every day. Then what? Lakshya also provides you with the recorded lectures. So you enroll at Lakshya. It's a one-stop destination for all your problems. Okay, so if you cannot come online because of your busy work schedules or whatever, you come to Lakshya, you take the paid recorded lectures wherein the faculties have a pre-recorded lecture. Okay, so you watch the pre-recorded lecture like a series that you watch at the comfort of your house. Now, one more plus point in this is that the recorded lectures that you watch of faculties, it's not like the faculties give you the recorded lectures and the situation gets over there and there. After you complete watching the recorded lectures and whenever you're giving the examination, before that there will be a live session arranged with that particular faculty. So imagine you're watching the recorded lecture at the comfort of your home. Yeah, you're watching it like a series, and you finish watching it, you're giving the exam, and you have a chance of meeting the faculty who took your recorded lecture. So there will be like a session with the faculty wherein you just talk to the faculty, you'll discuss issues, you'll discuss things, you'll discuss doubts and all of that. So Lakshya is not like once the recording is been seen, we forget you. We will arrange a live session with you whenever you're giving the examination to kind of solve your queries and solve your doubts. Okay, so that is one more important thing. Next we have is Lakshya is a well-known training institute providing ACCA courses in Kerala. Okay, we consistently strive to maintain being the best among the ACCA coaching centers in Kerala, and we strive to be the best, and we are one of the best providing ACCA coaching in Kerala. But along with ACCA, we also have a name in the Indian CA, the CMA USA, the CMA India, CS, CAD, CMA and BIFO. Okay. The ACCA coaching offered by Lakshya is crafted with utmost care. What is the meaning of it being crafted with utmost care? How can it be crafted with utmost care? Giving access to the best faculty pool in India. So you will have access to best faculties in India. If you want to learn ACCA in your local language, that is available. The faculties teach you in Malayalam. If you want the ACCA coaching in English, again the faculties teach you in English. If you want it in Hindi, we have the live classes on YouTube. That is the live revision classes in Hindi, which is at, for my subject, it is today 2:30 to 5:30. Okay, so in whichever language you're comfortable, if you feel that you want to study in Malayalam, it's your mother tongue, if you want to study in that, yes, that is possible. If you want to study it in English, yes, that is possible. If you want to take the revision in Hindi, yes, that is possible. Okay, so that is the meaning of the ACCA coaching offered by Lakshya is crafted with utmost care. They are crafting along depending on your requirement. Now you know what they do after your 10th standard. Once you select a stream and you come to Lakshya, they will kind of design a package based on your this thing. If you want to do it in Kerala, if you are living in Dubai or any other state, if you're living in any other place, so then they will craft a package for you wherein there will be live online classes. But if you don't want to take the live online classes, they will give you a recorded class and all of that. So they will craft a package based on what you want. If you say that no, I'm working, I cannot do this, I cannot do the live classes, so they will give you a recorded package. Okay, so like that they will craft it according to what you require it to be. The ACCA coaching offered by Lakshya is crafted with utmost care. This ensures that we provide the updated ACCA syllabus with intensive training given to students. Okay, So we have the best faculty pool, we give the best training to students. This helps them to gain the skills, abilities and knowledge required to appear for the exam. When you have the best faculty pool, they're going to train you in the best way possible to answer your exams properly. Trust me when I say this, if you study hard from day one, if you do the past exam questions thoroughly, if you do 3 mocks thoroughly, and if you watch a good revision class like the ones happening now, nobody can stop you from passing the examination. But you have to do your hard work. I repeat once again, if you study your syllabus thoroughly and attend the lectures, at Lakshya we have a lot of packages for the lectures. If you do the past exam questions, yes, it's available. I will show you on the ACCA Study Hub. If you do at least 3 mocks, yes, nobody can stop you from passing the examination. And if you take a good revision class like ours, nobody can stop you from passing the examination. And trust me when I say this, ACCA is very simple. AA is a very beautiful subject. So if you want to clear it in the first attempt, you are at the right place. You are at the right destination. Okay? Because the faculty pool that is available here will guide you to, help you gain the skills, abilities and the knowledge required to appear for the examination. We have online and offline classes available in various languages like English, Hindi and Malayalam. Now this was about Lakshya. What is the revision plan that we are going to do? What does the revision plan consist of? What are we going to do? We will study audit risks and auditors' responses, one of the common questions in AA. We will also be studying deficiencies, controls and test of controls and substantive procedures. We will solve 4 questions on the same, and we will be doing, the original plan is to do 2 full mock papers, but depending on how we complete it, how we do it, we're going to do at least 1 mock in class. Okay, I promise 1 mock in class. So we're going to do audit risks and auditors' responses, deficiencies, controls and test of controls, yes, and substantive procedures, which are one of the common questions in AA. We will be solving section B questions on the same. So 1 question will consist of audit risk and auditor's response, 1 will be deficiencies, controls and test of controls, and 1 will be substantive procedures. Okay, after that we will be doing 1 complete mock. And if there is a demand from the students to do 1 more mock, yes, definitely we will be doing it. Now the next and the most important of everything, the paper pattern of AA. Obviously those who guys are giving the examination now are 100% aware of the paper pattern of AA, because we tend to study according to the paper pattern. So what is the paper pattern of AA? First of all, the paper duration is for 3 hours 15 minutes. Yes, the paper is for 3 hours 15 minutes. Then you have section A and you have section B. Okay, wherein section A is for 30 marks and section B is for 70 marks. Okay, section A is an objective type question and section B is a case study type question. So section A is of 30 marks. You have 3 objective type questions for 10 marks each. So case 1 is for 10 marks, case 2 is for 10 marks and case 3 is for 10 marks. In case 1, you will have 5 questions of 2 marks each. That makes it 10 marks. Same with case 2, same with case 3. So the total objectives in your AA is 30 marks. All MCQs. And MCQs which are theory based are very simple, because you need no calculation for that. You need not use your calculator for the same. You need not use your online calculator. Theoretical MCQ questions are factual. Factual means, okay, if this is the case, this has to be the answer for that. there is no second calculation or there is no second thought of the same. Okay, there's a calculation and there's a fact-based calculation. Okay, so section A is 30 marks, 3 objective type questions, case 1, case 2 and case 3. Case 1, 5 questions of 2 marks each. Case 2, again 5 questions of 2 marks each. Case 3, again 5 questions of 2 marks each. Then we come to the bigger fish, section B, which is a 70-mark question. In section B, we have 3 constructive response questions, that is case study based, within which there are 2 questions of 20 marks each and 1 question of 30 marks each. That makes it total for 70 marks. 2 questions of 20 marks each, 2 questions of 20 marks each, 1 question of 30 marks. That makes it total 70 marks. So this is your paper pattern. If you guys want to take a screenshot of the same, you can, because it's beautifully made. Section A, section B. Now I will just give you this personal tip of mine. If you like it, you take it, otherwise it's okay. Try to score 100% marks in section A. Okay, we know that the passing marks of the paper is 50. Yes, 50 out of 100. So do your concepts so clearly that this 30 marks are safe in your kitty. Okay, 30 marks are safe in our kitty. Now to pass, we need 20 more marks. But passing is not our only goal. Getting good marks is our goal. But I'm just telling you from this perspective. I am writing section A first. Yes, I need to be conceptually strong to answer section A. Once the section A is done, yes, I have 30 marks in my kitty. So to clear that passing benchmark, I need 20 more. Out of the section B of 70 marks, I will know at least of 40 marks. Yes, so easy to pass. 30 there, 40, or 70 out of 100 is like 100% known to me. So that is the way you plan on passing. But the 30 marks should be safe in your kitty. Then you can, work hard for the remaining. But the 30 marks is 100% in your kitty. Then I'm going to show you on the ACCA, my ACCA page, I'm going to show you exam support articles. I'm going to show you technical articles, CBE practice platform and ACCA study. I'm going to show it to you right now. Okay. So guys, let's begin. Now before we do that, just allow me a minute to just check the comments. Okay, so please. Okay, let me just check the comments. Give me 5 minutes to check the comments, if any, and then we begin with, how to study. Do you want to take the offline guys, if you all are not watching it live and you all are watching it later on, still if you have any doubts, please put it in the comments. If you all are watching the recording also, you can put any of your doubts in the comments and it will be solved by us. Okay? So I'm waiting for 2 minutes for anybody who wants to, post any comments, and then we can solve it. Now this is your audit and assurance. Yes, on your My ACCA page. You have various subjects. From that I have selected my subject, audit and assurance. Introduction to audit and assurance will give you an introduction of the subject. Yes, you will develop knowledge and understanding of the process of carrying out the assurance engagement and its application in the context of professional regulatory framework. All the ACCA papers are practical in application. You have to study the concept and you have to apply the concept in the examination. It's not a test of how sharp your brain is, wherein how many points you can remember and reproduce in the examination. It is a very practical examination wherein you study things from your book. There is a new situation in every paper. No question is repeated. You have to apply your knowledge. You have to act as if this is a situation that is happening. Whatever knowledge and experience I have of studying the subject, as an auditor, what am I supposed to do in this situation? How will I design my procedures in this situation? How will I design my things in this situation? That is what needs to be done. Okay, so it's not a mug up or it's not a test of your brain, but it's a test of your ability to solve the problems. So in audit, for example, there is a problem. With whatever past knowledge that you have obtained, how are you going to solve this problem? Okay, is what you should be looking forward to. The exam is practical in application as well as aiming to ensure that candidates who pass this exam understand the basics of an audit. Why an audit is conducted. What is an audit? If you guys are aware of the same, the primary reason for conducting the audit is to give an assurance to the shareholders that the company in which they have already invested or are planning to invest money is a safe company and the financial statements of that company are true and fair. And this is the baseline for conducting an audit. It's to give an assurance to the shareholders that yes, your money is safe, you can invest. Consequently, the exam aims to strike a balance between technical knowledge as well as practical application of this knowledge. So as I told you, it is not a test of mugging up things and producing it in the examination. It is a test of your practical application, how you study the concepts and how you apply it practically in the examination. That is the real test that we have here. Okay. Now there's a beautiful video that they have given us. What's AA about? That is, what is audit and assurance about? The steps to success and tackling the examination. I want you guys to watch this video in your free time. Okay, it is like, how you will be able to clear this particular examination. Then next we have is, are you ready for AA? Yes, that is a question that I need to ask each one of you, because examination is just around the corner. This is the revision class that is happening. So you guys must have finished studying the concepts and now just doing the revision. So guys, are you ready for AA? Yes, definitely. And with this revision, it's going to add something to your existing, knowledge. I'm sure about that. Okay, till today you would have obtained knowledge. With this revision class, you will obtain something else, which will be like a cherry on the cake. Okay. So an important factor in audit and assurance exam success is the underpinning knowledge from financial accounting, FA. FA is one of the first 4 to 5 papers that you give. It's a very simple paper, and AA takes some knowledge from FA. But if you have not given the FA exam and if you have directly received the exemption, that's completely okay. Okay? To help you get the best possible start to your studies, we have created 4 self-check quizzes to refresh core concepts that you will build on when studying audit and assurance. So whether you are new to ACCA, haven't studied for a while, or just want to check how well you know the core materials, you can go here and solve the basic quizzes. Now I get a lot of students who tell me that, ma'am, I'm a CA. I've completed my CA 8 years back, but now I want to do a global qualification. So here I am doing ACCA, but I've already forgotten whatever I studied in CA. To start over again ACCA, I'm really scared because the studying touch is also gone. So ma'am, how to do it? So here's the answer for you. Are you ready for AA? Go take the quiz, check yourself, see if you can study now and begin. And at some point of life, you have to begin from somewhere. So this is that time, guys. Begin, complete the paper. This is a mantra of being lazy. I'm a very lazy person. So I tell my students that, see yaar, do your hard work in this one attempt and just finish it off. Don't just drag it. This attempt also you will give your 50%. Next attempt again you will give your 50%. Again you have to just drag the subject all over. So the mantra of a lazy person is that do your 100% now. Give the paper, pass the paper and get done with it. The topic gets over. Don't keep on dragging it, taking it to the next level, taking it to the next level. Again, then not December, then March, then again June, then again December. It is going to be a long story. So to cut the long story short, give your 100% now, clear the examination and just get done with it. Now our ACCA has provided it with multiple resources. We do not even require any author or any other person to give us notes, because the paper is set by ACCA and ACCA is giving us notes this time since September 2023. The below resources will help you prepare and understand the format of the AA computer based exam. It's especially valuable to view the specimen exam, to familiarize yourself with the exam environment and view exam style questions. If you would like to build your confidence in using computers, visit our further support page. Now, if you guys are aware, the examination is a computer based examination. I'll just give you an example of one of my students. She practiced on the laptop, but on the examination day, when she went to the center, there were keyboards. Now, the spacing between the laptop and the keyboard is very different. So she said that she found it difficult to type on the keyboard. So if you know that you're giving a center-based examination wherein you will have a keyboard, purchase a keyboard from Amazon, connect the keyboard to your laptop and practice on that, so that you will get well versed with that. Okay? You can also take your own external keyboard to your examination center. Now these are the various guides that are given. Let's read the examiner's approach. Format of the exam is already discussed, section A, section B. Now this is written by a member of the AA examining team, so you know how important it is. Okay, So this is regarding the examiner's approach. There is a specimen exam on the practice platform. Then audit and assurance essentials. Please read through this. I'm giving you 2 minutes to read this. See, as I told you, attempt at least 2 full exams under exam conditions. Now, attempting under exam conditions means what? Let me show you. Go here. Yes. Select your subject. Audit and assurance. Yes. ACCA official resources. Past exam library, that is the past questions. Click on that. These are all the exams that are available. You have specimen exams available. You have practice exams available. Yes, so these many mocks you have, you can solve as many mocks as possible. So for example, I'm taking the latest one, assign it to myself. When I assign it, it will appear here. So this is the AA practice exam. This is the mock that I just assigned. So you start the mock. Okay, now this is your actual exam condition mock. This is your actual exam condition mock. So this is how your actual examination will look like. Okay, so you do next. Unless and until you swipe the entire screen, it will not go next. Okay, so you swipe it, then next. You have to read these instructions. Before swiping, if you do next, it will not happen. See, you have not scrolled the entire screen. So again, go down, then do next. Again, go down, then do next. This is the last page of instructions. Okay, next. Okay, this is a summary of the examination. Select next to start your exam. This is how your examination will look like. Next. If you are ready to begin your exam, please click yes. Yes. Now this is your exam. Okay. This is the question. The entire question. This is the requirement A, which is for 4 marks. You have to give the advantages, you have to give the explanation and the disadvantage of using narrative notes. You have to give the explanation and disadvantage of using the internal control questionnaire. Now what is narrative notes? We have narrative notes, we have flow charts, we have organizational charts, we have internal control questionnaire, and we have internal control evaluation questionnaire, right? So what is the explanation of narrative notes? Description of a system in a written format. What is the disadvantage of that? Cannot identify missing controls, because it is like a description of the system in a written format. So if there's any missing control, you have to read the entire format to identify. So cannot identify missing controls, very lengthy. Then internal control questionnaire. What is the explanation? Asking the management if they have the following controls in place. That is internal control questionnaire. You're asking the management, do you have this control? Do you have this control? What is the disadvantage of that? Management can easily overstate controls. That means you're asking the management, if you have this control, you have this control. Even if they don't have that control, they can say, yes, I have that control. Okay, so management can easily overstate the controls. So this is the part 1, which is for 4 marks. Yes, then next. The same question, yes, part B and part B1 and part B2 together for 8 marks. Identify and explain 4 key controls and describe test of controls. Already the diagram is ready. Control. Fictitious employees cannot be added on the system, right? So how will you test if the control is working properly or no? Have an access to the key cards and see if it has a unique employee name and number for every employee. Yes, this is one of the main controls that the company can have. Then we have is, I'm just reading randomly, okay? I have not read this question, but we are going to do a complete mock. In that I will explain. But now just quickly I'm telling you. See this one. The payroll system is password protected and the password is changed on a monthly basis by the payroll manager using a random password generator. So this is again one of the strong controls that the company has. And how will you understand and how will you determine if the control is working properly? So you will access the system and you will type a random password and see if the system accepts that password. This is by using random number generator. That is, we have the Google Authenticator that gives us a password. Yes. For example, for my accounts, I have a password by the Google Authenticator. So the password keeps on changing. I have to just go check my authenticator. Whatever number my authenticator gives, I will type it there. Yeah, so that is the protection that we can have. So here also every month the password is changing, which is a very great control that the company has. So like that you have to identify any 4 controls and you have to test if the controls are working properly. Now this becomes the second part. Okay. Then next, the C part, identify and explain 6 deficiencies in Castle Courier Company system and provide a control recommendation of the same. Deficiency means what? Problems. So you will identify problems into the system, into this question, 6 deficiencies, and give recommendation for your deficiencies. Okay. So any 6 problems that you feel might be problematic in the future, you will identify from this, and then you will write a recommendation on how this problem can be solved. So in deficiencies, you will write the problems according to the auditor in the company, and in recommendation you will write auditor's recommendation on how the problem can be solved. Okay, this is the meaning of control deficiency and control recommendation. When we do a complete question, you will understand it better. So I will give you an example of one of the deficiencies and how you will give a recommendation for this. So for that, I have to just read through the question once. It is 1 July 20x5. You are an audit supervisor of Apple and Company and are in the process of reviewing extracts of the system documentation which has been completed on the payroll cycle of Castle Courier Company, as well as preparing the audit programs for the forthcoming final audit for the year ending 30th September 20x5. Castle Courier Company is a package delivery company which operates from a large distribution center. The company employs 200 staff, of whom 120 of these staff are delivery drivers. All staff work a standard 8-hour shift each day and are paid monthly. All staff members are required to clock in and clock out using a sequentially numbered key card which contains a unique employee number and name. Sequence checks on the key cards and the data in the clocking in system are carried out by the HR supervisor on a regular basis. The clocking in process is monitored by a camera on the entry to the distribution center, and weekly checks are carried out by the HR department, who review the video footage to ensure that no staff member clocks in for someone else. but there is a deficiency that this process that happens, that you're monitoring by camera, there is a deficiency that this camera is not working properly. Okay, so that is again one problem that happens. Yes, because your clocking in process is monitored by a camera, so it's very much possible that the camera is not working. One second. Huh? Okay. So camera, maybe the camera is not working properly. Yes, that's a deficiency because it's monitored by the camera. So maybe the camera in that room or in that particular thing is not working properly. So that can be a deficiency in the system. And how will you solve this deficiency? Recommendation, what will be your recommendation? Along with the camera, there should be an official to monitor the process. Right? So along with the camera, you have a person there to monitor the process. Okay, so like that you have to identify deficiencies in the system, and like deficiencies means the problems in the system, and you have to give a recommendation of the same. Okay, so that completes your deficiency part. So that is how it needs to be done. Then next we have is have viewed the entire screen. Yeah, if you have not viewed it, then in the exam also it will be like that only, no? Yeah. Describe substantive procedures the auditor should perform to obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence in relation to Castle Courier Company's payroll expense. Now, to my students who are attending my class at Lakshya, you guys remember that I had told you that you have to by heart substantive procedures. Yes, you have to by heart the substantive procedures. So in that you can be asked anything. You can be asked substantive procedures on cash and bank. You can be asked substantive procedures on receivables. You can be asked substantive procedures on payables, and it's a very common question in the examination. Okay, so you've been asked substantive procedures on courier company's payroll expense. Now, how will you check a company's payroll expense? Okay, substantive procedures on payroll expense. So let's look at that. It's for 6 marks, so you have to write at least 6 points. Yeah, you have to write at least 6 points for the same. So then you read the payroll, because you have to have substantive procedure on payroll, and substantive procedures means how will you check the payroll. So you write at least 6 to 8 points in the same. If your points are very generalized, make sure you write 8 points, otherwise 6 is enough if it's a detailed point. And that completes your 30-mark question. Now this is again a next question, which is a 20-marker. Describe the preconditions required for the audit. For all the students who are attending my live class, they know that we have already studied the preconditions of the audit. Yes? So just write down the preconditions. It is for 3 marks. Write down the preconditions. Now just because we are here, I would like to tell you that the questions in AA are usually of 2 categories. What does that mean? The question in AA are usually of 2 categories. What does that mean? One which is independent of the question, and one which is dependent on the question. So the requirements are of 2 categories. One which is dependent on the question and one which is independent. Describe the preconditions required for an audit is an example of an independent requirement. What is the meaning of independent requirement? You don't have to go and read the question to answer that. You don't have to go and read the question to answer that. This is an independent requirement. If you see the next requirement, one second. If you see the next requirement, describe 7 audit risks and explain the auditor's response to each risk. Audit risk and auditor's response. You have to describe 7 risks from the question. So for that, to answer that requirement, you have to read the question. So this becomes an dependent requirement. You have to read the question to answer it. So it becomes dependent of the question. So again, this particular requirement is a dependent requirement. Okay, that one was independent. For that, you don't have to read the question. This one is a dependent requirement. Okay, I hope this is clear. So there are 2 types of requirements. Then describe the term professional skepticism and explain 2 examples from the audit of Corey Appliances Company where the auditor should apply professional skepticism. Now this is an example of half is independent and half is dependent. For example, define the term professional skepticism is an independent requirement. Without reading the question, I can answer it. Professional skepticism means an attitude involving questioning mind, being alert to conditions, which may indicate possible misstatements due to fraud and error. This should be your typing speed ideally in the examination. Okay, nothing less than this. So define the term professional skepticism, that is done. And 2 examples of the same. See your this thing should also be proper, your presentation. Yeah, then 2 examples where auditor should apply. Example. This should be your approach to answering the paper, and this should be your presentation. So when the examiner reads this, the examiner knows this is for 3 marks. You have to define the term professional skepticism and give 2 examples. Now if you have written professional skepticism in capital, you've written the definition, then you have given 2 examples again. See, look at the presentation, how beautiful it looks. Yes, so that is how it should ideally look like. Okay, it looks beautiful. And instead of that, if you just write directly from your professional skepticism means an attitude and just write point number 1, point number 2, 2 examples, it will not look that attractive. So try to make your paper attractive so that the examiner feels that it is very beautiful and he is just ready to give you the marks. So make sure your paper is very attractive. So this is how it should be there. Then again, substantive procedures for matters identifying regarding the inventory valuation. Now substantive procedures, I told you it can be asked on anything, and see how important the chapter is. Substantive procedures on inventory valuation. Yeah, substantive procedures on inventory valuation. So like that you can have, so this is an example of the paper in audit and assurance. So you have to give at least 2 marks like this in exam conditions. This is the exam condition mock. This is your real exam condition. Your real exam is going to look like this. You have the screen split. You can adjust the screen also. You can do this or you can do this. You can read the question here and you can take more space for the answer. So whatever you feel like, but you have to attempt at least 2 full exams under the real exam conditions. Very, very important. Yes, under the real exam conditions. Then the best part about the key resources, you have the examiner approach. Yes, you have the examiner approach. You have the objective test questions for the CBs. You have the guide to sessions. You have the read the mind of the AA marker. A lot of times we feel when we don't pass a particular paper, we feel that no, but I had written my answers. I had written everything properly. Then how did I fail? It's not possible for me to fail. So that time you can read the mind of the AA marker regarding how, the questions have been marked. So let's read the mind of the AA marker. So you go here, you download the PDF and you read the mind of the marker regarding how the marker gives you marks for the exam. So whenever you feel like, I had written everything, but how can I fail? You go and read that. You will understand why you failed, or you will understand why you got less marks. Now this is how you can answer the questions. Okay. This is also by a person of the ACCA. examining team. First of all, definitions are very important. Then the model, use the model if any, if it's capable. Now, if you're giving the SBL paper, there are a lot of models. So apply that model. And what is audit risk versus the business risk? Business risk is the risk faced by a business. Audit risk is a risk that the auditor faces while auditing the company. And similarly, you can just go through it. Examples of audit risk, what can be the response to audit risks, and conclusion. So these are the resources. Then going back, practice platform, what we just saw, I showed you a mock. Technical articles and tricky topics. Now these are the topics on which you have technical articles available. What are technical articles? Technical articles are the real life situations using that problem. Real life situation regarding internal control or audit evidence or review and reporting. So if you want to read about going concern, you can click on that. So concept of going concern will be explained in detail by the ACCA. Then what is the management's responsibility in going concern? Then auditor's responsibility in going concern, reporting, and like that. So whichever, for example, if you topic wise feel that this going concern is something that I have not understood in the class, I'm not getting this point correctly, I don't know what to do, I'm too shy to ask anybody because they will feel that itna bada paper kar rahe ho but you don't know the meaning of going concern, how is it possible and all of that, you can simply go to the technical articles click on the going concern and read about going concern. So you will have an idea of what the going concern is. It is explained beautifully. So you can go and read it whenever you feel like you don't understand a particular concept. So this is the technical articles. Then next we have is the ACCA Study Hub. But before we start with the ACCA Study Hub, I will take a break of 5 minutes and then we begin, okay? Then how to tackle the examination, as I told you, keep the 30 marks in your kitty and work hard for the remaining 40 marks. Read these tips, please. Then I'll tell you something important. Now, if you have a particular MCQ question, okay, and you don't know the answer to that question, so you use the reverse method. You have 4 options. Out of the 4 options, you don't know the correct answer. So, but you know that this option cannot be there at all. So, eliminate it. Then there can be one more which you feel that ye to 100% it's not the answer. So, eliminate it. Then the competition is between the two. Then try to select the best out of that. Okay, so that is the tip for answering the MCQ. If you don't know the right answer, start by cancelling off the wrong answers. Okay, one more thing. The MCQ questions do not have a negative marking. So if you're unsure about an MCQ question, don't leave it. Randomly mark something. A, B, C and D, randomly mark something, because there is no negative marking for the wrong answer. So you need not be scared to mark a wrong answer. If you don't know an answer, just mark something and get done with it. One more important tip. Your examination is for 3 hours 15 minutes. You have a 100 marker paper. You have 1.8 minute per mark. So each MCQ is for 2 marks. So you have 3.6 minutes to do one MCQ, because it's 1.8 minute per mark. If you exceed the 3.6 minutes for a particular MCQ, leave the MCQ, randomly mark something, move forward. Don't dream, think that what should I answer, what should I write it to be, what should be the answer. No, if you don't know the answer and your time is getting wasted, because time is money here, switch to the next question. Don't waste your time, but switch to the next question. Because here, if you want to pass, it's very, very, very essential that you complete the paper. Completing the paper is very, very essential. So for that, once you finish your 3.6 minutes, come on, proceed further. Time yourself. Look at your watch. Then, please read the tips for answering section B. Now, while answering section B, use concise headings and subheadings. Make clear points. Just now I told you and I showed you how to answer a professional skepticism question. It was a 3-marker question, but look at how beautiful the presentation looked. So that is also very important. Make it clear and concise language, clear and concise points, proper headings and proper subheadings. Attempt all the requirements. Do not give rote learned answer points. That is, again and again you're repeating the same. Describe how you should perform the procedures and all of that. Okay. Now, the ACCA Study Hub. You go to your qualifications, your My Qualifications on your ACCA page. Select the ACCA Study Hub. This is going to appear. Okay. select your subject, whichever you're appearing. For us, it is AA, Audit and Assurance. This is your study hub, which is newly introduced. Okay, this is your study hub, which is newly introduced since the last attempt. Okay. Previously, we had to rely on authors for giving us notes. ACCA said, now onwards, don't rely on any author. I am giving you the notes. So rely on ACCA. You can obviously decide to go ahead with anything you like, but imagine the paper is being set by ACCA and these are the notes by ACCA. Okay. Now, just like you have your book by various authors, here also it's an online thing by various authors. You have chapter wise this thing, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter wise notes. Yes. Now, while you're studying from a book, like a physical book, you feel like underlining certain points, or you feel like underlining and writing something besides it. The same you can do here also. I'll show you how. You go to corporate governance. Then in corporate governance, I will study the objective of corporate governance. Yes. If I like the objective, I will highlight it. Sorry. If I like the objective, I will first of all select it and I will highlight it. Okay, so that highlights this particular part. Yes, it's highlighted. Yes, now I want to write something about it. So I will write corporate governance is the means by which the company is operated and controlled. One second. By which the company is operated and controlled. Full stop. The main aim of corporate governance is to ensure that companies are run well in the interest of the shareholders, employees, and other wider stakeholders like the society. Yes, so this is there. I will add this note. Okay, this is done. Then again I go to chapters. I study the next chapter. Professional code of ethics. I will study the threats, etc. If I want to mark safeguard point, I will select that and I will highlight it. Okay. Now after everything is done, next time when I read the text, I don't want to read it completely. The second time I'm doing the text, I just want to do and I just want to study the highlighted part like we do in the book. The first time we study from the entire book, but the second time we are doing it, we just want to do the underlined parts. We just want to do the underlined sessions. So what you will do? I will go to highlights. I will see there are two highlights, but I want to study the corporate governance one. So I'll click on that. This is my highlighted part. So I will study the highlighted part. Okay. In professional, I will study the safeguarded part. So these are the highlights. So you can remove this highlight whenever you want. You can remove this highlight whenever you want. Now I want to see the notes. This is the note that was made by me on this particular topic. On objective, this is the note that I prepared. So I'll go to notes and this is my note. Corporate governance is the means by which the company is operated and controlled. The main aim of corporate governance is to ensure that companies are run well in the interest of the shareholders, employees, and other wider stakeholders like the society. Whenever I want to delete the note, I will delete it. Again, going to chapters. So you have topic wise thing. Whatever you want to study, you just select it and study. One more thing. Whenever we find a particular thing important, or whenever we feel that we're going to forget it, we mark it, right? So for example, I'm studying this particular topic on standardization, and I feel that I might forget this, because sometimes there is a particular answer where you feel that how much ever you studied, but one day before the exam, if somebody asks you about that, you're going to forget about it. So my confidence in this particular topic is very low, so I will mark my confidence in this particular topic. Okay, then next, whenever I am studying that topic, whenever I'm looking at the index, sometimes you mark the chapters that you have to redo. So I will see, okay, in this particular topic, my confidence was low. So it's very essential to do it one day before the examination. So I'll click on that. Similarly, I can mark high confidence, I can mark medium confidence, depending on your confidence levels. Okay. So see, here I have marked high, here I have marked medium. And this also just now I marked medium. So that is one more thing that you can do. Then one more. If I want to do a quick calculation, 1.8 into 1.8 minute per mark into 2 marks per MCQ, you have 3.6. For this quick things, if you don't want to remove your calculator, just go ahead with your calculator here. Yes, you can record a note, you can bookmark also. Sometimes we fold the page and keep, we bookmark certain things, so that also can be done. For example, this is the page that I have, I will bookmark it. Okay, so next time I'm doing the chapters, I will just go to the bookmarks and see what is bookmarked. So this is bookmarked. So I'll click on that and do it. Okay. Again, I can delete that particular bookmark. Delete. Again, go to chapters. Okay. So this is regarding confidence levels. You can. Table of contents is your index, confidence levels. We saw the notes, we saw bookmarks, and we saw highlights. So this part is done. And the second we have is flashcards. What is the meaning of flashcards? You are tired studying. At the end of the day, you finish studying for 10 hours, 12 hours, and in the evening you want to do something different. You don't want to study because you're too bored studying, and then the next day again you have to do your 10 to 12 hours. So you need a break. So what will you do in break? Generally, students tend to do Instagram, they tend to do the social media or whatever. I would suggest don't get distracted by that. Do something else. Like do the flashcards. It's not a study, but it's a study. So let me show you. Flashcards is random cards will appear on your screen and you have to say the meaning of the same. For example, material. What is the meaning of material? So you think about the meaning in your head and click on that. So information is material if its omission or misstatement could influence the economic decision. Then next, professional skepticism is questioning mind, being alert to conditions which may indicate possible misstatement due to fraud and error. Correct? So did you get it correct? No. Did you get it correct? Partly. Did you get it right? Yes. So depending on that. The corporate governance is a means by which the companies are managed and controlled. Yes. Did you get it right? Yes. Like that. So like that you can go and change. Public interest, then you can view the answer. First you will think the answer in your head and then you will view the answer. Preconditions for an audit. Yes. So like that. So you will do the flashcards. So that will kind of revise the concepts in your head. So like that you can do the flashcards in your free time, whenever you feel that you're done studying and you don't want to study more, but you want to do Instagram or you want to do something else, please do this. Don't when your exam is near, don't distract yourself by doing something which you shouldn't, because on Instagram you don't even realize the time. You feel that I'll do it for 5 minutes, but then when the half an hour is gone, when the 1 hour is gone, we don't realize. And at this point in our life, wherein our exam is just around the corner, we can't afford to waste time. Obviously, you can do a little bit of entertainment. You can have a walk in the garden. You can go out for some time and kind of refresh your mind. But the social media is very trapping. Once you resort and start doing social media during your exam, or before your exam, it kind of traps you, and then you cannot come out of it, because then you spend hours just scrolling and watching the reels. So these are the flashcards that you can do. We all know how important quizzes are in AA. Here you have quizzes given to you. The moment you click on the last option, it will give you even the result of the quiz. So you don't even have to wait for some tutor to correct your quizzes. For example, if I take the chapter 3 quiz, I will start the quiz. Yes. Which statement regarding the composition is correct? So whatever you find correct, you tick that particular answer. Now here I'm doing it randomly, but I'm taking some time so that this time here I can show you how it is calculated. Okay, so you see this answer, you see this question, you have 3.6 minutes, right? You have 3.6 minutes to do this particular thing. Take time and tick an answer. Okay, so this is what I ticked in 40 seconds. You can even change it whenever you feel like. You have 3.6 minutes, so you can decide accordingly. Okay, so I take an answer, I confirm the answer. Then the next, which of the following is not a principle of corporate governance? Okay, so then again, you click one right answer. You can click whichever you want. Whichever, like the time is come here, you can click whatever you feel like is right. Confirm. Which of the following is not a provision of the UK Corporate Governance Code? Again, you come here, you select any answer. And you tick next. Again, you do here and look at the time here also. For this question, how much time you're taking, and total how much time you have taken. For this question, you have 3.6 minutes. So you can accordingly take your time and answer. Then this is the fifth question now. Yes, the moment you confirm the fifth question, you will get a result of your quiz. Okay. The moment I click on confirm now, I will get a result of my quiz. So this is my quiz result. So I got 20% marks in my quiz, out of which only my third one was correct. Okay, now I will show you what to do after that. You review all the results. Let's look at the first one. Composition, yes. The real answer is B. The audit committee is made of independent non-executives only. Now this answer is something that I got wrong, because I didn't do this part correct. So go to chapter 3, section 3.1. Go to chapter 3, section 3.1 and read here. You will understand this particular quiz. Like that, okay? Then the second one again is wrong. Go to chapter 3, section 2. Now you got 20% marks, which is not acceptable. So what you will do, go to chapters, do the chapter again, and do this particular quiz again. But this quiz is already done. Then what you will do, you will reset the test. Once the test is reset, you can give it again. Okay, so you can again go to the chapter. You can refer to this chapter number 3, corporate governance. Yes, you can see the entire chapter. You can read it again. Again, you can go on the quiz and then take chapter 3 quiz. Okay, here it will show you how many quizzes you have. Total 31 quizzes. They will show you how many quizzes you have taken, average incorrect answer time that you have taken, average correct answer time that you have taken, and the average answer time that you have taken. So basically it will give you an entire insight of how you have appeared and how you are doing the quizzes. Okay, in the quizzes also you can mark notes, you can bookmark things, and you can highlight things. If I have a particular quiz which I feel is very important, I can highlight it, I can bookmark it, I can highlight it, and I can add it in the notes. Okay, I have 31 quizzes. Today's date is 7th. Your examination is just around the corner. Those who are watching the recordings, these are the quizzes designed by ACCA and given by ACCA. The paper is also set by ACCA. Make sure you solve all these 31 quizzes. Make sure you 100% solve all these 31 quizzes. Okay, they're very important. Make sure you solve it. If you get very satisfactory marks, in quizzes you should get out of marks. If you get very satisfactory marks, you reset the quiz, you go back again, you do the chapters again, you come back and you do the quizzes. Okay. Now, is the ACCA only providing us with the quizzes and nothing else? No, ACCA is providing us with other practice session of big questions. So total ACCA is providing us with 239 questions. So if the ACCA itself is providing you with 239 questions, do you require anything else? You can practice it here and here. For example, let me pick a question. Any you can pick, nothing like that. Since we did on corporate governance, let's pick a chapter, this thing on corporate governance only. Again, this is a quiz, MCQ. I want to pick a big question. Yeah, let's pick this question. I will do start practice. When I do start, the timer will start. Okay, this is the question. I will read the entire question, but I will start with requirement. So whenever I am doing an exam style questions, it's always my tip that I tell all my students, you have to start with requirement. Because if you start with the question, you don't know exactly what they've asked you to find out. So you're not concentrating on facts, you're just reading it randomly. It is 1 July, you're the manager, this, that. But what is the end result? What is the moral of the story? It's very important to read the moral of the story first. So you will go on requirements. You will first read the requirement. Okay, this is a 20-marker question. A, explain the quality management procedures that should be in place over engagement performance. Identify and explain the deficiencies in Signet's quality management procedures over engagement performance. Okay, so you will see this and you will read the question. First you will read the requirement, then you will read the question and again come to the requirement. Okay, now I will take some time to read the question. So like take 5 minutes, just go through the question just for practice. Till then I'll quickly check the comments if any. We are not solving this question right now, but it's just a practice of what you should be doing. How many minutes has it been? I'm waiting for 5 minutes to get over because to read a 20 marker, you should at least take 5 minutes to understand it, okay? Now it's done, so I will plan the answer. So I will plan the response here, whatever is my response, point wise, whatever I want to write about it. Okay, I planned my answer. The moment I confirm the answer, I will get the right answer. So let's confirm the answer. This is my answer, and this is the answer that is expected from you. So isn't that superb that ACCA has done? So you can see your answer, you can compare it with the standard answer and see where you went wrong. So you can have a checking here only. You can look up, you can look down, check your own answer. Yes? So like that, you can do so many questions. This is a question on corporate governance. If you want to reset a particular question, click on reset. Okay. There's a lot of practice that is given to us by ACCA. So you have chapters, you have flashcards, you have quizzes, and you have practice. Okay. There's an audit strategy, there's an audit plan, difference between the two. Right? So this is your ACCA study hub that we were talking about. Study hub. Practice platform we already saw. A guidance from the examining team. This is the examiner's approach article that you can read. This is the examiner's report. Now, for example, you solve a particular mock. For example, we did the March-June 2023 mock. Okay, so what is the examiner's report on that mock? You can go ahead and read it and you can see, because sometimes you feel you've not got marks up to the point, up to the mark. So you can read the examiner's report and find out a detailed commentary on the same. Okay, so you can go and you can read it. This is by the people who check your paper. Examiner's approach. Yeah, we already saw this. Guide to CB sessions. You can download the PDF and see it here. Essentials of AA on one page. You can again find out. Specimen exam on the practice platform we already saw. Examiner's approach also we already saw. Okay. So please go through this yourself and see if you have any doubts in the same. I'm giving you 5 minutes to go through it. I'm finding something. If you want any learning support for the CB session, because it's a computer based exam, you can read this. You have a course for free. How to cut, copy, and paste in the examination. For AA, you don't require much of knowledge of Excel and all, but for other papers, you do require, so that you can get from here. Then there are certain frequently asked questions that can be your questions also. Practice platform you already logged into. Everything is covered, whatever is whatever you require. Here you can get the pass rates. Yes, since September 2022 to the recent September 2023. Plan your studies. Create your plan here. Yes. Examinable documents. Download the examinable documents, very important for the exam. Study hub we already saw. Introduction. This is the study hub that we just saw. Planning. First will be the learning phase, that is learning the parts, planning. Second will be check your understanding. Third will be the revision phase, which we are right now at. So, what you should do at the revision phase, once you have a broad understanding of all the topics covered in the syllabus, you can progress to the revision phase where your main focus will be getting ready for the exam success, question practice and debriefing, exam technique, mock exam, and ACCA practice platform, which I just showed you how to access. And you will also find the 6 strategies of learning via a podcast. You can listen to that podcast and find things out. Question practice on the ACCA practice platform is already shown to you. Technical articles already shown. Examiner's report, observations of the examiner while marking, already showed to you. The pass rate. Okay, so this is all that you know. The study hub we already have. This is the study hub. Okay, this entirely is the study hub. Now in the question sometimes you have that they tell you that define, or they tell you evaluate, or they tell you analyze. That needs to be clearly understood what exactly they have told you. Okay, so you need to understand the meaning of the same, because math and English skills are important as a part of studying the ACCA qualification. Because sometimes they will tell you that define, or they will tell you analyze, or they will tell you evaluate, or they will tell you define, or they will tell you describe. So that you should know what they have told you, and accordingly you can write your answer. If they have told you define, you cannot describe. If they have told you analyze, you cannot evaluate. So you should know the difference between the ask of the examiner. define, evaluate, analyze, explain, yeah, describe. So that is very important. How to apply your knowledge to maximize the marks. Read the mind of the AA marker. Answering audit risk exam questions. So you give the definition first, then you give the model first, already discussed with you. Okay. So now this was regarding the ACCA study hub and everything. Now, till whatever I showed you in the study hub, if you have any doubts, please let me know. I'm giving you 2 minutes to, just go through it and see if you have any doubts. You can read through this.
Hi there, my name's Ben Wilson. I'm one of the ACCA's expert tutors and I specialise in auditing. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 top tips to help you to use the examiner's report more effectively. These tips will help you to score a couple of extra marks in the exam and could help to push you up to a pass. Now, wouldn't it be great to be able to speak directly to the AA examiner? What would you ask them? I'd have 2 questions. Firstly,
This is a direct chat with the examiner. So if you got a chance to meet the examiner, then what would you do? Okay, so like that.
hi there, my name's Ben Wilson.
Please go through whatever we did and tell me in the comments if you have any doubts. I'm just checking the comments. Give me 5 minutes. Second will be check your understanding. Third will be the revision phase, which Even if you're watching the recordings, you can leave the comments and we can solve the comments, okay? So now we take a break of 5 minutes and then we begin further. Now, next we have is the topic which is commonly asked in the exam, that is audit risk. Now, this is something which is a very common topic in the AA exam. I even showed you an exam paper, and that also this topic was there. So, identifying the audit risks and giving the responses for the same. So, I will in short explain to you about the topic, and tomorrow we will be solving questions on the same. So, first of all, what is an introduction of the audit risk? What is the meaning of audit risk? What is one of the main requirements of the auditor to do? One of the main requirements of the auditor is to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence to reduce an audit risk to an acceptably low level. But what is an audit risk, and why is it important for the auditor to reduce the audit risk to an acceptably low level? So, first of all, what is audit risk? Audit risk is the risk that the auditor expresses an inappropriate opinion when the financial statements are materially misstated. So, when the financial statements are materially misstated, that is, when the financial statements have mistakes, the auditor expresses an inappropriate opinion. So, when the financial statements are misstated, the auditor says that the financial statements are right. That is the meaning of audit risk. Risk that the auditor expresses an inappropriate opinion when actually, in reality, the financial statements are materially misstated. So, audit risk is the risk that the auditor expresses an inappropriate opinion when the financial statements are materially misstated. And one of the main requirements of the auditor is to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence to reduce the audit risk to an acceptably low level. Okay, that is one of the main requirements of the auditor. So, if anybody wants to write this down, they can please write it down. Audit risk definition, and the main requirements of the auditor is to obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence to reduce the audit risk to an acceptably low level. Please write it down if anybody wants to, or take a screenshot of the same. What is the example of audit risk? This means that they give an unmodified audit opinion when the financial statements are misstated. When the financial statements are misstated, ideally they should have given a modified audit opinion. That is a qualified, disclaimer, or adverse opinion. But what do? They give an unmodified opinion. What is an unmodified opinion? That the financial statements show a true and fair view. So when the financial statements are materially misstated, and ideally they should have given a modified opinion, they give an unmodified audit opinion. If this were to happen, the auditor could be sued by the intended users. Disciplinary action could be taken by the relevant professional body, and the firm could damage its reputation. When the auditor had to give a modified opinion, if the auditor gives an unmodified opinion, the shareholders can sue the auditor for giving wrong opinion, because the auditor is an independent person who goes on behalf of the shareholders to the company to check the company and see if the company is true and fair. But in that also, if the auditor purposely gives an unmodified opinion when actually the auditor had to give a modified opinion, he could be sued by the intended users. That is, for giving them a wrong picture about the company, the shareholders can sue the auditor. Disciplinary action could be taken by the relevant professional body and the firm could damage its reputation. The shareholders can also complain to the relevant professional body. Relevant professional body can also take action against the auditor and the firm could damage its reputation. Because once your reputation is spoiled, that you're giving a wrong opinion, next time nobody would want to come to you for opinion. They would go to some other auditor, they would go to some other company, they would go to some other firm. So in this business, once you spoil your name, next time you might not get an opportunity for the same. To avoid this potentially damaging consequences, the auditor will plan and perform the audit in such a way that audit risk is reduced to an acceptably low level. So, to avoid this damaging consequences by the auditor will plan and perform the audit in such a way that the audit risk is reduced to an acceptably low level. That means the auditor would always want to give a right opinion for whatever he's doing regarding any matter in the company. Okay, because he wants to protect his name, he doesn't want to damage his reputation in the market. So, for that reason, to avoid the potentially damaging consequences, the auditor will plan and perform the audit in such a way that the audit risk will be reduced to an acceptably low level. Okay, if anybody wants to copy this down, please, or take a screenshot, then please do the same. Till then, I'll quickly check the comments. What is a misstatement? In simple terms, I will tell you what is a misstatement. A misstatement is a mistake. Okay, so this mistake has a definition. You cannot directly say a misstatement is a mistake. You have to define it. So, what is misstatement? What is the definition of misstatement? A difference between the reported amount, classification, presentation, or disclosure of a financial statement item and the amount, classification, presentation, or disclosure that is required for the item to be in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Difference between the amount in the financial statements and the amount that is required according to the framework. The framework might require you to have an amount of 10,000, but in your financial statement you have recorded only 8,000. So the difference between the amount, reported amount, classification, presentation and disclosure of a financial statement item, which is 8,000, and the amount, classification, presentation and disclosure which is required in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework, that is 10,000, the difference between the two is known as misstatement. Now, why is there a difference between the two? If a particular amount is required in accordance with the applicable standard, that same amount should be included in the financial statement. But why same amount is not included? Why is it 8,000? Why is there a difference? Misstatement can arise from error or fraud. Okay, it can arise either from error or fraud. Sometimes it happens by mistakenly, by error, and sometimes it is fraudulent. So difference between the reported amount according to the financial statement item and what is required in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. The difference between the two is known as misstatement, and misstatement can arise either from error or fraud. So please write this down or take a screenshot of it if anybody wants to. Now, what are the different mistakes that you can find out during the audit? The first one is an uncorrected misstatement, a misstatement which is not corrected. You request the management to correct it, but the management refuses to correct it. Then you inform those charged with governance to correct it. They also fail to correct it. So that misstatement remains uncorrected. So the first category of misstatement is the uncorrected misstatement. The second one is the factual. The third one is the judgmental, and the fourth one is the projected. These are the four misstatements identified during audit. Now, I will explain to you each misstatement in detail. The first one that we have is an uncorrected misstatement. So, first, when the auditor finds out a misstatement, and if the misstatement is material that needs to be adjusted in the books of accounts, the auditor will go and tell the management that please, management, please correct this misstatement. The management says that we don't think it is important to correct it, so we are not going to correct it because in our eyes, this statement is not material. So the auditor will come back and the auditor will recheck the materiality because the management is saying we don't find it material. So the auditor will revisit materiality. When the auditor revisits materiality, the auditor still feels that yes, it is important and it needs to be corrected, but the management has already said no. So the next step that the auditor will do is the auditor will go to those charged with governance and ask those charged with governance to please correct this misstatement because it's material. And if those charged with governance do not tell the management to correct it, then this misstatement will affect the audit opinion of the auditor. Because if the management is also not listening, those charged with governance is also not listening, ultimately the auditor has to report about it in the auditor's report, because that is the last option that the auditor has, that is to report in the auditor's report. Okay. And when the auditor went and told the management that please correct it, management said that in our eyes it is not material. So get it in writing from the management that you had gone to the management and requested them to correct the misstatement, but they said we don't find it important, so we are not going to correct it. Get it in writing, get a written representation of the same. Reason being, tomorrow, if you are questioned by the shareholders that why this misstatement is not corrected, you can show the written representation by the management that see, we had requested the management, but they said it is not material, so we didn't correct it. Get it in writing from the management. Okay, so this is uncorrected misstatement. Evaluate the effect of uncorrected misstatement. Go to the management, request them. If the management says no, go to those charged with governance, revisit materiality, and get a written representation from the management that they feel that the misstatements are not material. So that tomorrow, if the shareholders question the auditor has a proof that see, I had told the management, and the management says no need of correcting it, it is not material. Next we have is a factual misstatement. What is the meaning of factual misstatement? A misstatement about which there is no fact. By very fact, it is a misstatement. For example, if I tell you the sun rises in the west, by very fact, this is wrong because the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So if I tell you the sun rises in the west, by very fact, it is immaterial. By very fact, it is a mistake. Okay, so what is a factual misstatement? Misstatement about which there is no doubt. 100% it is a misstatement if I tell you the sun rises in the west. Okay, that is known as factual misstatement. Misstatement about which there is no doubt. It's 100% a misstatement. Okay, so that is the second type. The third one we have is the judgmental misstatement. Misstatement arising on management's judgment of accounting policies and accounting estimates. The judgment taken by the management on a particular commodity or on a particular item is wrong. Okay, and the auditor addresses it, but this is because of the judgment taken by the management. So the judgment that is taken by the management is incorrect. That is known as judgmental misstatements. Misstatement because of a judgment taken by the auditor. Okay, and the fourth category that we have is a projected misstatement. What is a projected misstatement? What is the meaning of projection? We put a movie out there projected. What is the meaning of that? We are putting it out for display. That is projected, right? We are putting it out for display. Similarly, projected misstatement is the auditor's best estimate of the total misstatement in the population. When the auditor checks the population, he comes across various misstatements. Out of all the misstatements and mistakes that he gathers, one misstatement is the auditor's best estimate of the misstatement. That means it is a mistake which can happen, and the auditor wants others to know that SRB mistake can happen. This also kind of mistake can happen. So for that, the auditor projects it out to the population that see, this is something that looks right, but actually it is a misstatement. To avoid other people from making the same mistake, I'm projecting it out here. So projected misstatement is shown to the public so that they avoid making this mistake in the future. That is the meaning of projected misstatement. That is the auditor's best estimate of the total misstatements in the population through the projection of misstatements identified in the sample. So the evaluation of misstatements is first of all uncorrected, then is factual, then is judgmental, and then is projected. If anybody wants to write it down, please write it down. If anybody wants to take a screenshot of the same, please do it. Till then, I'll quickly check the comments. The next we have is the three types of risks in a business. So the audit risks in audit are divided into three categories. One is the inherent risk, one is the control risk, and one is the detection risk. Three types of risks a business can face: inherent risk, control risks, and detection risk. So what is the meaning of each? Inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. Inherent risk means what? It has been inherently running from many years. For example, we say that Indians have inherent black hair. That means this is something in our genes that everybody has black hair in India. Abroad, some people have blonde hair. That is inherently there in our genes. Nothing can be really done to change it. When I decide to do a business of sugar, sugar is derived from sugarcane juice. Okay. Sugarcane starts to lose its sweetness the moment it is cut. So, whenever sugar is made from sugarcane, 5 to 10% of the loss is very normal. The sweetness loss I'm talking about. Yes, so that is an inherent risk, and you cannot really do anything to prevent it. How much ever closer your factory is to the field, the sugarcane, when it is cut, starts losing its sweetness, and the sweetness will reduce by 15 to 20%. So, this is the inherent risk that a business faces. So, this will be considered at the planning meeting as it depends on the auditor's knowledge of the business. It's the risk of material misstatement in financial statements due to the characteristic and nature of the business. And you cannot really do anything to reverse or change this risk. Okay, this will be considered at the planning stage as it depends on the auditor's knowledge of the business. Before you enter into any business, every business has some inherent risk. For example, if I'm planning to open a boutique with designer clothes and all of that, I need to be aware of the inherent risk of the same, that once things become out of fashion, the stock becomes obsolete. So whenever a new movie comes, there is a very much hype about what the actor is wearing, what the actress is wearing, and everybody wants to buy that. But after a particular point, when the movie becomes old and many new movies come into the market, that particular becomes out of fashion. So when that particular item becomes out of fashion, people don't want to buy it. So if you have existing stock of that, your stock becomes obsolete. And according to IAS 2 inventories, obsolete inventory should be valued at the lower of cost and NRV, and there is always an audit risk that this is not done. So this is the inherent risk which is there in every business, and before you enter that business, you should be aware of the same. That these risks are very common, that happen every time. Okay, so that is inherent risk. The next we have is the control risk. What is the meaning of control risk? Control risk means there is a risk in the business which is already there, but the internal controls of the company are not able to catch that particular risk. There is a risk which is already there in the company, but the internal controls are not able to catch that risk. That is known as control risk. That means your controls are not proper. In a business, the controls are not proper. This is the risk of material misstatement due to inadequate internal controls within the business. The auditor will make a judgment as to the suitability and strength of internal controls. That is control risk. The third one we have is detection risk. Detection risk is the problem of the auditor. There is a risk in the business, but the auditor is not able to detect the risk with the procedures that the auditor has been using. That means the procedures of the auditor are not perfect to detect the risk, to catch the risk. Okay, so this is the risk that the work carried out by the auditor does not uncover a material misstatement that exists. Okay, so these are the three types of risk: inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. So anybody who wants to screenshot or write it down, please write it down. I'm giving you 2 minutes. So that is inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. Three types of risk: inherent, control, and detection. It is explained further, whatever I said just now. Inherent risk can arise due to the nature of the industry, entity, or the nature of balance itself. For example, inventory is inherently risky if it quickly becomes obsolete, as it may not be valued appropriately at the lower of cost or NRV as required by IAS 2. I give you this example also. So, that is inherent risk which is running in the business for many years and you cannot really do anything to change it. It is there, it will always be there. Okay. Control risk. Control risk is a risk that a misstatement that could occur and that could be materially misstatement will not be prevented, detected, or corrected by the company's existing controls. So, controls are not strong enough so that they could prevent, detect, or correct a misstatement on a timely basis. The client should have controls in place such as authorization, segregation of duties, reconciliations, physical controls, etc., to prevent and detect a misstatement occurring when transactions are initiated, processed, and recorded. And that means every company in the business should have strong controls so that they can, prevent, detect, and correct the misstatements on a timely basis. If effective controls are in place, the control system will either prevent the misstatement from occurring or will detect misstatement that have occurred and the client can take action to correct them. If controls are not effective, control risk will increase and there will be a greater risk of misstatement occurring in the financial statement. So, this is if the effective controls are in place, you can detect the misstatement on a timely basis. If controls are not effective, then you cannot do so. So, this is the control risk that I already explained. And detection risk is the risk that the procedures performed by the auditor to reduce audit risk to an acceptably low level will not detect a misstatement that exists and that could be material. So, the procedures performed by the auditor are not able to catch the risk, they are not able to detect the risk. Okay, so that is detection risk. The procedures performed by the auditor to reduce the audit risk to an acceptably low level are not working properly. They are not able to catch the risk. Again, detection risk is further divided into two categories, that is sampling risk and non-sampling risk. What is the meaning of sampling risk? That you have chosen the wrong sample. Sampling risk is that you have chosen the wrong sample. Now, how is a sample chosen? There are various ways by which a sample is chosen. There is block selection, there is haphazard selection, there is random number generators and tables, and by various methods a sample is selected. Now, selection of a sample has a lot to do with the auditor's judgment also. If the auditor really wants to catch a misstatement, and if the auditor is experienced enough, the auditor will select the right sample. For example, if I am a discipline head in the school and I want to see if how many girls are applying nail paints to their hand, to their nails. So while selecting a sample, my sample will consist of all the girls. But if there's a person who is not experienced, who doesn't know how to check, he will select a sample with a mixture of boys and girls. If I really want to catch a misstatement, I know that boys are very less likely to apply nail paint than girls. So I will purposely select a sample which will have all the girls. That will give me a greater insight to catch the person who is wearing nail paint. So my sample will be based on my judgment and my experience, because with my experience, I know that boys will not grow their nails and put nail pins, girls will do that. So my sample will be selected and designed in such a way that I have more of girls in my sample, so that the possibility of catching a girl with the nail pin on her finger increases. So that is a sampling risk. Sampling risk is that the sample selected is wrong. Maybe one auditor came and selected a sample with a mixture of boys and girls or all boys. So the end result that you obtain from checking a sample is different if you would have checked the entire population. The result that you obtain from auditing a sample is different from the result that would have been obtained had the entire population been selected. So that is a sampling risk, that your sample is not a representative of your population. Your sample is not correct. Your sample is not a representative of the population. So that is a sampling risk. And the next we have is non-sampling risk. The auditor did not sufficiently investigate a significant balance, and this risk is not because of selection of a sample, it is because of any other reason. Okay, so that is known as sampling risk and non-sampling risk. Okay, so detection risk is further divided into two categories: sampling risk and non-sampling risk. Next we have is professional skepticism. What is the meaning of professional skepticism? It's a definition that everybody is aware of. Professional skepticism is an attitude that includes a questioning mind, being alert to conditions which may indicate possible misstatement due to fraud and error, and a critical assessment of audit evidence. So, what is professional skepticism? It's an attitude that includes a questioning mind. That means the auditor is an independent person who goes in the company. He will not listen to everything that the management says, because ultimately he has to challenge the management on various aspects. So, what the auditor will do? The auditor will have an attitude that includes questioning mind, asking constant questions to the management, that how did you arrive at this figure, how did you arrive at this point. So, asking constant questions to the management, having a questioning mind, and being alert to any conditions in the company that may indicate possible misstatement due to fraud and error. That means being very quick and being very alert to the conditions for any fraud or error. That is the meaning of professional skepticism. And every auditor has to exercise professional skepticism, because the auditor is an independent party. And if you're independent of the company, you have to think of ways of how you can find out the truth in the company about any situation that has happened in the company. So that is professional skepticism. So how to apply professional skepticism? Professional skepticism requires the auditor to be alert to audit evidence that contradicts with other audit evidence. So in the same company regarding a particular matter, you're getting two different audit evidences which contradict with each other. Two different audit evidences that contradict with each other. So in this situation, what you will do, you will find out more about the situation, because about one thing, how you can get two proofs which are completely different from each other. That means either one proof is completely fake, or maybe both are fake. Yes, so audit evidence that contradicts with other audit evidence. Information that brings into question the reliability of documents and responses to inquiries to be used as audit evidence. Information that brings as a question if the documents that are submitted are reliable or not. Conditions that may indicate possible fraud, if there is any fraud happening in the company. Circumstances that suggest the need for audit procedures in addition to those required by international standards on auditing. So this is how you will apply professional skepticism in a particular company. So anybody who wants to write it down, please write it down on how to apply professional skepticism. Then again, what is the concept of materiality? Very important concept in audit. Material means something which is important. Misstatement, including omissions, are considered to be material if they individually or in aggregate, that is total, could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decisions of users taken on the basis of financial statement. So materiality means something which, is so important that had you known it before, it would have influenced the economic decision of users taken on the basis of financial statements. So this is something that if you had known before, you would change your decision of investing in the company. That is the meaning of material misstatement. Material means important. It is important for your business. If you had known it before, you would have not done a certain thing. So that is materiality. Materiality by size. Anything above 0.5 to 1% of turnover is material. Anything above 0.5 to 1% of gross profit is material. Anything above 1 to 2% of total assets is material. Anything above 2 to 5% of net assets is material. Anything above 5% of profit before tax is material. Anything above 5 to 10% of profit after tax is material. This is materiality by size. But some items, by their very nature, are also material. Even if that amount is not above 0.5 to 1% of turnover, even if it's 0.1% of turnover, still it is material. Those items are material by nature. For example, having a related party transaction. Having a related party transaction means doing business with somebody who's your related party, who's from your family. Okay, so these transactions are material by nature because there is always a doubt that you would have given them some discount or you would have given them items for free, even if you haven't done it in reality. But that is the expectation of the auditor. The auditor feels that if it is a related party transaction, there is some discount, there is some concession that you have given to that party. So even if it is not material by size, that is if it's not 0.5% to 0.5 to 1% of turnover, still it is considered material because it is material by nature. By the very nature of that item, it is material. So that is materiality by size and materiality by nature. The next concept that we have is performance materiality. Now, what is the meaning of performance materiality? This is an amount which is set below materiality. Because sometimes what happens is 0.5 to 1% of turnover is, for example, 500. So anything below 500 is not material. So 200 is not material, 300 is not material, 400 is not material, 100 is not material, again 200 is not material. All these things are not material. Okay, but when you aggregate it together, when you add all the immaterial items together, the summation of that, the aggregation of all that becomes material. So now individually it is not material, but in aggregate it is material. In this situation, performance materiality plays a role, which is a level set below materiality. So it allows you to prevent all those small undetected errors which do not aggregate to become material. So this is a concept of performance materiality. So please read through performance materiality paragraph. Till then, I'll quickly check the comments. So performance materiality is a level set below materiality. So just read through this performance materiality. So now for today, we are stopping here at performance materiality. Tomorrow we'll continue further and we'll solve a question on audit risks and the auditor's responses. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lecture. I will see you tomorrow, same time, 10 to 1 in English and 2:30 to 5:30 in Hindi. Okay? Thank you so much, guys, for attending. Thank you so much. Have a happy studying week. This entire week we are doing double A revision. So please, please, please be there. Make sure you attend it, you watch the recorded. Once, if you have any doubts, please put it in the comments. We'll be solving the comments in class. Thank you.